lessons of life and evolution are long and complex, but what they basically boil down to is that life will always find a way to continue, always. Therefore, life will out. It's a quote from one of my favorite shows where Brain Tracy talks about life and death. The quote meaning no matter what happens, life will continue to go on. And I hold this quote close to me and use it as a way to go through me, through my small struggles. Now, I had this whole thing about how I related to it when the day that my grandmother passed, but I took it out because I know my grandma's saying, if I keep talking all deep and dark, she's like, stop being so sappy. You're making me so sad. I don't want to see everyone sad, please. And she's begging me to stop. But my grandmother, Betty, was and is one of my favorite people in the entire world. Her light and energy she gave off was pure comfort and happiness. You know, people always say, oh, this person was meant to be a doctor, or they're meant to be a mother. But in my eyes, the one thing that her in her life that she was meant to be was to be my grandmother. Of course, she was the best mother in the world because she became my mother, who I adore more than anything in the entire world. But her grandchildren were truly her prized possession. She always had stories that she would repeat over and over again, but they always pulled you into a seat, and you would want to hear more and more every single time. And she gave love to everyone around her, but extra love to her grandchildren. No matter how much pain she was in, she never missed a dance recital, a game, or any event that celebrated her grandchildren. It was always the first look to know how proud she was of them, along with my grandma. She wanted everyone to feel appreciated and adored as much as she had for them, but as much as she loved, she worried. None of anyone knew my grandmother. She was the biggest worrier on the planet. And I like to think I worried to do that myself, but she was pretty good. No matter what happened in her life, she was always worried about the people she cared about, whether it be her husband, her children, her grandchildren, or even some strangers she saw that other day. Her heart bled for everyone around her, and that was her way of showing you she cares about you so deeply. She was the strongest person for someone who I like to say has a lot more bark than bite. She was always ready for a challenge and wanted to push through every obstacle in her path, especially when it came to her health. She would always try and call me and talk to me about my future career as a PA, but instead she thought I was a PA and would always try and call me for free medical advice. And then I would tell her, I'm not qualified for that enough, and give me a call back in a few years. But I was happy enough because I knew that that's how she believed in me so deeply, and that's how I could go on in my life and become a successful PA. She knew I always wanted to be so badly. So every time I walk into the hospital, I could help save lives with the nurses and the doctors who helped save my grandma once did. I know that she's with me, pushing me along, as she's always been. I made a promise to my grandma Betty before she left. As one of her oldest grandchildren, she always told me how, since I'm the oldest, I have to take the reins on this, and I have to step up for everyone, especially my young sisters and my cousins. But I told her not to worry, and that your beautiful family you created will look after one another, and everyone will be okay, and that we don't miss you terribly, but we'll love you more and more every day, or as her husband, my grandpa used to say. I love you, I always have.